everybody. It is wonderful to see everyone. Well, as I say, it's never seeing everyone in the beginning. It's seeing the odd face here and there, and otherwise the odd screen and name. But I'm really glad that all of you could join us today. And I see there are still people coming in, and as we know, people will continue to come in as we continue with our chat. So you'll notice that you're all muted, which you will be used to being muted if you've joined us before. And then what we'll do is we'll record this section of our time with Mel, where I'll be asking her questions and finding out all about her exciting career. And then what we'll do is we'll stop the recording, and then we'll give you a chance to be able to ask any questions that you may have, or share any points or anything that you find is encouraging or inspirational. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who know me, you'll know my name is Jane Moores, and I work for Out of Box Thinking, and I spend most of my time training companies to attract and select the best people for their teams, and training recruitment consultancies on how to really add value to their clients. And I absolutely love helping people be the best version of themselves. And one of the people that I just so admire in this world is Melissa Slaymaker. And I'm so excited that she can join us today. And I'm actually going to let her do a lot of her own introduction, because she is somebody who, if you go onto her LinkedIn page, you will see she has a number of titles. All of them look really impressive. So we'll have to ask her to explain them for us. So Mel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jane. It's such an honor to be with you. I've been watching your series as it's sort of grown over the last year, and it's been really very impactful as well. So well done with all the work that you're doing. And just working in the recruitment space, I guess. My background, as I'll tell you a bit more about, started very much in tech recruitment. So I really appreciate the give back and the work that you're doing for the community as well. Yeah. So
Thanks.
should I do an introduction? I guess I will go.
Yes, well, I mean, so if you've got, as I say, if you've gone to Melissa's LinkedIn profile, and we'll put the link in the chat, you'll see Global Partnerships Director, Africa Regional Director, Women in Tech, co-founder, speaker, blockchain, Web3 AI enthusiast.
Yes.
So
All of
yes,
the
Mel, please tell us what all of these mean for you and in your world.
Thanks, Jane. So really it's I'm a very much a tech enthusiast. I actually studied science. When I graduated from university, I had a science degree. I worked in a laboratory for a few months and didn't enjoy it very much. So I thought, now what? What am I going to do? I've studied this degree. Now I don't know what I want to do. But let me take I'll get back to that story. Let me just sort of do an introduction. So I'm Melissa Slaymaker. I like Jane said, my main title is Partnerships Director for Women in Tech. And I also volunteer as the Africa Regional Director for Women in Tech. So I've got like a voluntary hat on and then an actual day job hat on. Women in Tech, if you have never heard of Women in Tech, it is a global movement. It's a organization, a social enterprise, a non-for-profit that work towards empowering women and girls in STEAM. So STEAM, as you know, will be science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And we aligned with the UN SDGs. We really want to try and not just talk about a problem of having gender diversity in these areas, because there's still a huge gender gap that exists, unfortunately. And we want to have, we want to work towards those SDGs, which includes diversity and inclusion. But not just talk about a problem, but take action. And so I was really excited about 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago in Feb will be, when I stumbled across this amazing lady, Ayumi Moore Ayoki, on LinkedIn. And I just was so inspired by her work that she was doing. She was really taking action. And I was like, I want to be part of this. So yeah, so now I work for Women in Tech, but also through the work and all the opportunities that I've been part of Women in Tech, I also have upskilled myself as a technologist within the blockchain space, as well as AI. So I really have now delved hands, feet, head, everything into the tech world as a woman in tech, and also running the non-for-profit. So that's me.
Yeah, and you say that's me as if, oh wow, so that's it. But it really is quite mind-blowing, everything that you've just described, and how you do just dive in and live every role passionately into the full. And I love that you said, okay, you realized that, where you realized what you loved about women in tech and how you wanted to join women in tech. And so I wanted to find out, how is this different from when you worked in your previous roles? How does it feel different to be living your passion and your purpose in your
Oh yeah.
career?
So it was a journey, and I promise you, it wasn't something, like when you have a dream and a goal and you think, oh, one day I can do this, one day I can, reach this. And it was just so amazing how your paths kind of, the world just kind of, or the universe would make things happen, connect you to people, and then your dreams come true. So I really am so grateful to be living my purpose. And you'll ask me about how is it different. So when I was working in my early 20s and 30s, I don't want to be put an age on it, but like in those earlier careers, what you focus on a lot is earning an income. I was a young
Yeah.
mom, I had a family I had to support, and it was very important to be financially independent. And for me, it was work, 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 money, money, money. I need to survive. I need to provide. I need to make sure that you are also a bit ambitious. I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was working for one of the largest engineering and technology recruitment agencies in the UK for collectively about 10 years, but it was 6 years in the UK and then 4 years in South Africa. But I worked for this tech engineering agency, and it was very corporate. It was very sort of driven, and I enjoyed it. I was good at it. I was, creating a lot of, placements and sales and business developments. And that was just, I thrived in that area. And then
Mm.
when I sort of hit my 40s, again, not to give age away, but you come to a point in your life, it doesn't have to be in your 40s, it could be earlier, it could be later, but you come to a point in your life where you think, is this it? Like,
Yeah.
almost, I don't want to say midlife crisis at all, but
No,
no,
but
but you
sure.
come to a point you want to analyze, and you think, okay, so I've
Uh-huh.
built this career, I've been very successful in this, but what else? If I had to die today, hopefully not touch wood, it would be all good. But what would be your eulogy? What would people say
Mm.
about you when what would they remember you by? Is it Mal the recruiter, Mal the mom? Like I was like, I wanted something else. I wanted something more, and I wanted to give back. So you just come to a stage of your life when you're thinking, actually, what can I do with the work and the experience and the connections and the people that I know to actually create something that will leave a better legacy than just Mal the recruiter? And it might sound
Yes.
selfish, but you kind of think, actually, no, it's a stage of your life that you progress to. So it wasn't so much just work for money, but how do I do work that actually creates lasting impact that my children
Mm.
can be proud of and say, my mom did that. Or that was for me,
Yes.
the drive wasn't so much how do I provide because I was doing that, but how do I now leave a legacy? I know it sounds weird, but that was what was kind
No,
of
it doesn't sound weird at all. No, I
that
think
made
that's
me
so
realize like
meaningful.
there must be something more.
Yes.
So about 4 years ago, it was actually just before lockdown happened. It was such a weird space. I don't know if you remember, it was COVID and all that's a weird time.
Yeah.
We were just isolated. And luckily, I had someone in my life that actually made a really good impact on my life. And that's who you know very well, is Erica Reeves. So she
Yeah.
was one of your previous podcasts as well. So
Hmm.
Erica was actually my boss back in the recruitment days, and I wanted to do this non-for-profit women in tech. I wanted to create it. Basically, there was nothing in Africa at the stage, nothing in South Africa. I contacted Ayumi from her LinkedIn post, and she said, "Look, if there's nothing, why don't you create something?" So I thought,
Love it.
it was like, I never thought of that. And when she said, can you create something? Create a business case, create a proposal, and tell me how, if you would create something, how would you do it? So I sat down for about weeks and I created this business plan saying, this is how I would create it. This is the networks I would use. But back then I was working in full-time corporate environment, and with corporates, as many of you would know, they're quite strict with how you spend your time. You can't now have, go for meetings that's not, work related, or take calls that's not work related. It's very strict and sort of monitored environment. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make this pitch to Erica, my boss at the time, and I'm going to say to her, listen, this is my business case. I want you I want to start a non-for-profit as a side hustle. It's obviously a passion project. And I created this full slideshow. And at the end of it, she was so inspired by my slideshow. She said, how can I do this with you? So voila. And that's
I
how
love it.
it was almost born. So it was obviously my passion came across. And it was also, the benefit of it for the business at the time was to grow the network of women, especially leadership roles where we companies, even back then, even 6-10 years ago, companies would realize that there's this gap in gender equality within the tech space, especially in engineering as well. So hiring managers would contact us as recruiters and say, listen, I would love to hire a VIP or a sort of a VP or a CTO or IT director, but I'd love a woman in this role because our whole department is just, unfortunately, men. That's just how it is in tech, right? So the problem existed like more than, it's been growing, but it's becoming more, people are becoming more aware of the problem and also the benefits of solving the problem. So, if you have diverse teams, your products that you design are obviously more beneficial for 100% of the population, not just 50. So you're obviously more commercially, companies are more commercially viable. They make up to 30% more profits when they have diverse teams. This has been proven in research by McKinsey, by the World Economic Forum. If you have women leaders, the company also is more commercially better off. So people can see the benefits, and now they're saying, okay, we need more women leaders. Where do we find them? Let's go to recruitment agencies. But us as recruiters, we even struggled because first of all, women are not always good at marketing themselves. So they don't even have LinkedIn profile. So they don't have up-to-date CVs. They don't, it was a challenge to kind of get the caliber of women for these roles. And I thought, okay, how about we create this woman in tech network? And then we would just have a pool of candidates that we can choose from. And so that was partly the intention, I think, back then. But like I said, when you start working for women in tech, you can't help it, but the bug bites you and you just see the purpose. So my purpose changed throughout my journey. And it became now to, yes, we already naturally have a huge network of women in tech, across the globe. But it's how do we actually create a pipeline, and how do we inspire from primary school, from high school, from university, from early careers into these leadership roles? How do we get the pipeline of leaders developed? And that's where my purpose of change is not so much in just networking. And yes, we have events, amazing events. And yes, we do a lot of mentoring and lots of networking things that is fantastic. But it's almost like now I'm enjoying the part of building that pipeline and going out to schools and doing career days and seeing the little faces light up we actually a few times brought NASA and also SpaceX astronauts, female astronauts, to the schools here in Cape Town to say, look, this is what you can become, if you just, dream, and anything's possible. And that for me was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is like what I enjoy. It doesn't feel like work. They say if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So I've really experienced that in many ways, so that the work that I do now, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm just going out, helping people, and doing what I love. But obviously, to enable me to do this, I need to create fundraising and sponsors. So that's where my day job comes in for partnerships director. So I'm always out asking for sponsors and funding and creating partnerships across the world. So that's what I do to basically sustain the good work that we're doing.
No, it really is amazing work, Melissa. And every time I hear you talk about it, or every time I'm in contact with women in tech, I know that feeling of the bug bites you, and you just think, oh, what else can I do? This is such an amazing cause, helping so many people across the globe. And you mentioned that when you're doing this kind of work, it does feel like you're not working a day in your life. You really are living your purpose. And so I can imagine to some people listening, they might think, okay, that sounds just super easy and just, every day is a dream. So what are the challenges realistically that come with that where it's sometimes difficult or challenging, or you get some kind of resistance? I mean, you mentioned funding, but yeah, is there anything that people have a realistic
Yeah.
view of? It's not all plain sailing. You work
Yes.
hard. I've seen you.
Definitely. So it's definitely not all glitz and glam. I mean, I think once or twice a year we'll have a event where we kind of showcase talent, but 90% of my days are spent either doing proposals for partnerships, but going out to schools. We've got a center at Philippi Village here in Cape Town. And this is a story I'll share. So a couple of years ago, I actually got hijacked traveling to Philippi. I had my son in the car with me as well. We used to go to Philippi Village once a week with no issues, really going to the schools. We do digital skills training and we help the kids. And unfortunately, I had a bad experience, wrong place at the wrong time. And luckily, we were fine. They just stole the car, but no one was harmed. And we were, rescued by the police quite quickly. So it was a bad experience. So it's not always glitz and glam. We are going into rural areas where it's not always safe, or we go into, situations where, you can feel the need, right? So people are hungry. They can't study because they're hungry. They want to, you can't educate a hungry child. It's the saying.
Mhm.
So you want to be able to solve those problems, and you can't always, because of budgets, it's just impossible to solve these huge things for everyone. But it's not always easy. Like you said,
Mhm.
it's difficult because the need is so great. Even when
Yeah.
we worked very recently with AWS and APSA, creating opportunities for women to get cloud practitioner certified, to obviously help them upskill themselves and gain employment.
Mm.
And we only had 130 certificates that we could offer because there's a cost to it. It's about $100 per certificate. And the funds, we only could cover 130, but we had 1,900 people apply.
Yeah.
So the need is there,
Wow.
and I was like, oh, this is hard. This is the hard part because who
Wow.
do you choose? How do you
Yeah,
choose the lucky 130? How do you make these decisions? And it's so hard
that's
to
right.
actually not be able to help everybody. And I think this
Yeah.
is where the partnerships, the call to actions, the real fundraising that we do needs to be amplified because the need is so great. And you see the
Yeah.
impact, the positive impact it's having, and you want to just do more of that. But
Mm.
a lot of the work that we do, like I mentioned, is on the ground with schools. We have a program called This Is Me, which you're also part of. So you're one of our
Yeah.
speakers. It's a 3 months program, and it covers job readiness, obviously emotional intelligence, entrepreneurship. We do skills on CV writing, how to apply for jobs, how to interview. We do have mock interviews even, and we have phenomenal guest speakers that come on our program from all over the world. So
Mm.
these programs are on the ground. This is what we love to do. So this is the nicer things, nice to have things, but also the cohorts are limited in terms of amounts that people that we can help at a certain time. So I think the
Mm.
hard part is trying to amplify that, but hopefully with technology we can create digital courses and stuff like that that we're looking into. And talking about that, I also mentioned that I started working in blockchain. So through Women in Tech, I just really got so interested in the world of blockchain. So for those that don't know blockchain, it's basically the technology that is used to create cryptocurrencies and smart contracts so that you can actually, it's like a digital ledger that is immutable, it's permanent, and it's got so many fantastic applications for many, many things, but I won't go into too much detail. But when I started talking about learning about blockchain and how it can sort of impact people's lives, and it is the future, I started studying through Women in Tech. And I've got my postgrad in blockchain and also in fundamentals of AI. So we did the AI as well in that. And I started then another business, a startup business with my other colleague, Leora Hessen, called Nifty Arts, where we actually taught blockchain. And we also now incorporated AI, and those courses are available on Udemy. So it's trying to kind of scale and to be able to help more people, because you almost think we've got this great products, but we just want to be able to reach more people and make it accessible.
Mm.
And even through Women in Tech, we also have a platform. It's called WIT-Hub, so wit-h.com. If you want to have a free platform where you can engage, you can network, you can find mentors, you can find jobs. And that's the kind of scalability that makes it exciting and solve some of the challenges that we're having in terms of, being able to help more and more people.
Yeah, amazing, Melissa. And I love how, you've got this drive and passion and dream, and then you see a problem and then choop, you create a new business or a new solution or a new collaboration. And it's like just pops up like those chicken and egg plants all over the place. And I'm wondering, I know you've got the drive and you've got the passion, which is so important for having a career with purpose and being able to impact, and as you say, finding your flow with meaning and purpose. And I'm also wondering about the skills that you said you developed earlier on in your career, because sometimes when people aren't working in the career that they love and they feel is meaningful, it kind of feels like, oh, what am I doing? I'm just sticking it out. So I'm really curious to know, what are the skills and experience that you developed earlier on that you're actually really glad you did that then, that are actually helping you now? Just so it's,
Absolutely.
people can get it. Maybe I'm not in my dream job, but I am developing skills that will help me one
Yes.
day when I do find it.
So the best skill to have in the fifth industrial revolution, as we're moving, in the fourth industrial revolution now, but they say the best skill to have is curiosity and relationship building, like EQ, right?
Mm.
So if you
Mhm.
have curiosity, you can build relationships and you know how to make people feel good, you can do anything. So it really is, it is for me, the skills that I learned on through my curiosity was to become a little bit tech savvy. Even though I was working in the tech recruitment space, I wouldn't have classed myself as a techie. Like I was, more of a salesperson, and I never really thought of myself as a technical person. But then
Mhm.
with YouTube, just by doing a lot of research, you can upskill yourself. You don't have to wait for someone to give you a course or pay for something. There's so much free education on the internet if you just know where to look. Even top universities like MIT, Harvard, Stanford from the US, Oxford from the UK. If you actually go onto their websites, there are so many free courses that you can do from those universities in tech to upskill yourself. Do a course on how to do some coding or Python, or definitely AI is obviously the hot topic at the moment, and it's not difficult. You don't have to really be tech savvy to be able to use AI. All you have to learn is how to prompt and to create ask the right questions to get the best results, and that is
Mhm.
literally done through practice. And there's so many great platforms that you can use, and it's I think it is almost evolving so quickly, the access to education and the access to information, that it can be very overwhelming. You think, where do I start? Do I need to learn about cybersecurity? Do I need to learn about data protection? Or do I need to learn about crypto? What's going on? Is all these tech things? It can be quite overwhelming. But I think it is
Sure.
just start somewhere, and just never stop learning. You're never too old to learn. Like, I think your brain always needs to be active and learn something new, and I think that's something that I live by, is to always try and learn something new every month at least. Like, focus, oh, I want to learn this new skill, let's do that. It doesn't have to be technology. It could be, I don't know, learn to crochet or learn to be a gardener or something. I don't know, it could be anything, but learning
Yes.
something new really gets my brain going, and it keeps it curious about learning something. And I think then I also like to apply what I've learned to some sort of business model, whether it's through Women in Tech, whether it's through Nifty Arts, or whether it's through, just sharing with the community something I've learned. I don't know. I like to learn things and then share. But it is
Mhm.
social media. And AI has made it so easy to share knowledge, and you'll see, if you follow TikTok or Reels and things like that, you'll always, your algorithm, my algorithm is definitely animals, cooking and exercising. I always get the same things. So, but like, you can really learn. So if you want to learn something around a tech application, start following, you kind of write your own algorithm. So start following that and you'll get more information shared to you, and you'll be surprised at what you can learn. So yeah, I don't know. I just think the skills I've learned, coming back to your question, is curiosity is key. Don't be afraid of tech. So if
Mm.
you, if you want to upskill in tech, it's easy and it's accessible and it's free in many, many cases, right? So you don't have to spend money to upskill, and you don't have to wait for anyone or courses. It's just go online and look for courses to do. There's Udemy, there's ALX, which is a great community for you to learn tech skills. AWS also has very free courses that you can take to learn about cloud technology and AI as well. Same as Google and Microsoft. They all have academies. So you can literally Google Academy, Microsoft Academy, and then just pick a course and do it. It's free. You shouldn't wait. So for me, it's about
Exactly.
continuous learning, that curiosity bug, and not being
Mm.
afraid of any technology skills, because anyone can learn tech. It is
Mm.
it might take people longer than others, but you will still get to the same end result. It's you can learn quite a lot
Mm.
of things for free, which is again creating that access. But it's I think, and also, but the final thing which I want to also stick to is about the relationship building part, the connection,
Mm.
being able to meet a person with purpose, and say, okay, I'm going to connect with this person, but why? Do I want them to be a mentor? Do I want them to collaborate with me on something? Should we, maybe they can connect me to someone else that's, get me to my goal. So having clear strategic intentions around networking and relationship building has really brought me a lot of success in my career. And I think it's purely because I'm not afraid to go and shake someone's hand at an event and introduce myself, or approach that one person that's sort of shies away from everyone in an event. I always go up and say hello and just build those connections and network, because you never know what could result from that meeting. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's been the three things. So definitely curiosity and just learning, always wanting to connect with people, and not being afraid of technology. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I love those, and I absolutely agree. They are essential, and often no better place to learn them than the world of recruitment, where you have to meet new people all the time to be able to connect them. And so it does almost train you with a sense of building relationships with purpose. And I really like that you said that, Mel, that it's not just going out and being busy and learning randomly and connecting randomly, but really thinking about, why am I doing this and where can I apply it? And we know that we do learn better when we apply. And even when we share, our own ability to retain goes up so much higher than if we're just taking it in. So, yeah, such valuable points. Thank you. And on the flip side, is there anything that you think, oh, I wish I'd done that differently, or taken a different route there, or maybe learned that skill a little bit earlier, or yeah, anything looking back? I mean, we always have 20/20 vision looking back. So in your case,
Yeah,
yeah, what are
definitely.
lessons
So
learned?
my journey has been up and down, and I would say, if you look at, they talk about, people talk about failure, and like, where have you failed, or where is something that you could have done differently, like you said. And I think failure is a good thing. For me, I've learned that
Mm.
when you fail, that's where you learn the most things from yourself, or about your industry or your business. By failing, you actually go, okay, well, that was a wake-up call, or I need to pivot, I need to change. And if you're just successful all the time, then you're not going to learn as much, right? So for me,
Mhm.
I would say there was one moment in my life where everything just seemed to just like not go my way. It was just like, literally, I felt very lost. So I thought, what, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to start a business. And I did. I started a company called Exec Finder. And I wanted to do recruitment on my own. I was going to start my own thing, and I'm just going to be my own boss and just go for it. And I very quickly learned that being an entrepreneur is not very easy. So it was very hard, because now you are the marketing person, you're the accountant, you're the CEO, you're the salesperson, you're the operations person. Like, it was really, really hard. And I think one thing I learned was, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you need to have a team. You can't, for me, but I know there's a lot of people that do it on their own. But for me, it was like, I can't do this alone. I need to have
Mm.
a team. I need to have people around me. I need to have people I can outsource things to, or help, or get bounce ideas off. And
Mhm.
so for me, that was a big learning is, you know, I don't like being completely on my own and isolated and being my own boss all the time, because there's some things I don't like doing, like accounting. So I
Mhm.
would, you know, get a consultant to do that for me, or I would get a
I'm with
marketing
you.
person to do that. So really, I've learned that a lot, is that I think everyone should try and be their own, create their own company once in their lives. They should just try and do it, because I
Hmm.
actually had the biggest learning curve from being you know, being my own boss, I guess, and doing that. And actually, I don't regret it, because the company I still use to do some recruitment through. So it's a little extra income when I need it. So yeah, it didn't.
Oh, no, that's great. And I love that. I love your embracing, you know, failure is actually something you can learn from, and it's healthy. All of us need to fail. And I love that you're promoting a healthy attitude about failure, because I think often we're afraid to. And I
Yeah.
know that has stopped me doing some things at points in my life, is that fear of failure. Yeah, even when I had my own company, I don't think I would have without my husband nudging me in and saying, come on, you can do it, you know. So it's really helpful to have people who believe in you, who you can team up with, who you can outsource to. Love that. Thanks, Mel. And so the future, what is that? You know, do you have any kind of new dreams on the horizon, or places to go next? I know you've just been in Paris for the awards, but so you are visiting lots of countries. But yeah, tell us more about your future dreams and plans and thoughts.
Yes, so thank you for that. No, I definitely want to continue the work that we're doing with Women in Tech and just expand and scale. As the regional Africa director, my focus is also to grow the chapters across Africa. We currently have, I think, 13 chapters already in Africa, but some of them are just started up. So kind of nurturing those and getting them developed and growing. Next year, we're having our Africa Summit in Kenya. So something to look forward to. That's going to
Amazing.
be on the 12th of March in Nairobi. And
Wow.
we will be posting a lot about that over the next couple of weeks and months to come. So really scaling the Africa Women in Tech presence is on the cards for us. And I'm putting this out into the universe, because we have a chapter, Women in Tech chapter in Mauritius. So I'm just saying, I want to go to that. I need to be present there to do some work. For some reason, please, universe, work with me here. So if anyone who has any ideas for Women in Tech in Mauritius, that's what I want to do. And then we also have obviously our Africa Awards next year, and we've got lots of events. And our global summit for next year for Women in Tech is going to be in Japan. So we will be
Amazing.
going in April 23rd to 26th. We will be in Japan, in Osaka, for our Women in Tech Summit, which is also part of the World Expo, which is amazing. And
Wow.
we'll also be sharing some more information around G20, which is coming to South Africa next year. It's the first time it's in an African continent, a country. So Women in Tech will also be doing some things with G20. So we've got quite a full
Sure.
calendar of agenda for next year. So Kenya, Japan, Mauritius, and lots of other things in between.
No, amazing. Yeah, it doesn't stop. They just love it, Mel. And so if anyone would like to, you mentioned a couple of ways that people could get involved and support women in tech if they're hearing about this and thinking, oh, that's something that resonates with me. I would love to help. That would help me be more purposeful around sharing my skills and putting them into a place that has a tremendous impact. So can people go, okay, thank you.
Yes. I've just put on there, this is our Women in Tech Hub. Obviously, join the South Africa chapter. So don't just go on the hub. It's kind of like a Facebook, but for women in tech. So you go and create your profile. You can link it to your LinkedIn if you like. You can network. You can communicate with the network there, as well as be aware of the events and, you know, sign up for programs and things like that. So that's definitely a good way. Also, please follow us on LinkedIn and social media channels, because we post all of the opportunities on there. So if we're looking for volunteers, if we're looking for people to get involved at our events, or community managers, there's so many ways that you can get involved. involved at. We also want to expand our IT Learning Center to Johannesburg or Gauteng area, in the more kind of township area. So we want to create impact in those spaces. And if if you have any ideas of how we can help us do that, it would be great. So we're looking for hubs where we can get computer donations and get tutors to help children learn more digital skills. So there's lots of ways that we can help, and we're looking for partners that want to help us on this mission of empowering 5 million women and girls in STEM, getting on board and getting global brand presence and awareness, So yeah, we just want to do more of what we're doing.
Oh, I
So
love it, love it. And I agree, it's something that I mean, I also love doing things that I believe have an impact and help other people and change other people's lives. And it's wonderful to be able to tap into an organization that's already doing that, instead of, okay, now I must start something from scratch. So there's so many opportunities. So very, very inspiring. So Mel, before we open up for anyone who wants to share or ask anything, do you have any final tips for people who want to create a career with impact or really live their passion and purpose through their work?
yeah, so my message would be is to start small. You don't have
Mm.
to go and create this global movement and think I've got to go and have 194 followers on LinkedIn. It's 94,000, sorry. But it is I think about how you can impact your community as with the
Mm.
resources that you currently have. You don't have to go
Mhm.
and think, oh, I need to go start a chapter. I need to go. Can you help your neighbor? Like, do they need lifts to school or to work? Can you help your your community? Or is there someone in your neighborhood that maybe needs a device donated? Or can you help someone pay school fees? Little
Mhm.
things. Like,
Mhm.
impact starts small. And then
Mhm.
I think this would be my sort of message is like, if everyone just did little something small, imagine, the scale of it. So if someone can just go,
Exactly.
like, pay it forward, so if you can help someone, I don't know, with something it doesn't have to be tech, it could just be, something that's a force for good. But just be aware of what's going on in your own environment, because I bet you
Mm.
if it's closer to home than you think, the need is there. So
Yeah.
I think if you can think, if you want to start a non-for-profit, great, but look at what resources you have, look at your own environment and your schools or whoever, around your area that might need something, and start small and then grow it. But you don't have to think, I'm going to go solve all the SDGs in 1 week. It's not going to happen, but you can start small,
Yes.
and that will really have impact and make a significant difference in someone's life, right? It's like that starfish analogy, when all the
Mm.
starfish, you can't save them all, but it will make a difference to that one you throw him back, and
Yes.
this one, so if you
Yeah.
think of that, that always encourages me to go, even if I'm doing something small, it made a difference to that one person.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Mel. It's very, very inspiring. And it's encouraging also because it doesn't make it feel like such a mountain. It's just, okay, just one small thing. And I find that sometimes people in their careers and in their career growth, they sometimes feel like, okay, my career that I'm doing, my day-to-day job isn't my ideal passion purpose project, but it does enable me to do something on the side or in my spare time that does make a difference. And if I didn't have that job or that income, I wouldn't be able to be doing that other piece on the side. So that's also still meaningful.
And definitely, I'm definitely for side hustles. I have my own side hustles. I'll always keep thinking of multiple income streams, because I have to. And I think so, as what people may not know is that I am a single parent, so I have to be. There's no safety net. It's me or me. So I need to make sure that you have those things that just sustain you and keep you
Mm.
going. But I think from if you're sitting on the call and you're thinking, "Oh, I really have this business idea, but I don't know how to get started," or I have this
Mm.
like, real passion for cooking or making things, and I don't know if I should do it. I would just say, what have you got to lose? Like,
Mm.
just start small, do it. You might fall flat on your face, it might fail, but what have you got to lose? If you didn't try, you would never have known.
Yeah.
You just have this like, what if, lingering. I would say just go for it. But also, you don't always have to do it alone. Maybe speak to
Hmm.
people in your network and see who can help you, maybe has ideas, but just get started. It costs you 800 rands in South Africa to start a business.
Wow.
So if you have 800 Rand, you can register a business, you can have your bank account, you can create a Facebook page for free, Instagram, whatever you want to sell on. 800 Rand, you can register a legit business and you can get going. So I don't know why, nothing should stop you.
That's amazing. So encouraging, so inspiring. Oh, thank you, Melissa. I think that's what is so needed for a lunchtime conversation. And thank you for sharing your generous heart, your inspirational mind, your curiosity and ability to build relationships and network and make an impact. It's so clear from who you are, how you show up, and the work you do. So thank you so, so much.